The gentleman from Colorado is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just respond to my friend from Oklahoma as well as the gentleman from Pennsylvania. I mean, obviously, they've got some issues with their school systems. If this is the problem that they're bringing up, Colorado, schools are open. Now, I can tell you, my wife, Nancy, is pretty stressed because COVID still is around. And the teaching ranks have been hit by COVID, and there's a lot of stress on teachers, but the schools are open. Now, maybe those gentlemen need to talk to their school boards. Colorado, we believe in local control. And in Colorado, we've kept these open. So I would just suggest to the gentleman, to take a look at their own school boards instead of having some national standard that they want to create here about keeping schools open, because they're open. Now, Mr. Reschenthaler mentioned something about the economy. Let's talk about the economy. Start with the stock market. Stock market is up 10,000 points since Joe Biden took office. 10,000 points. You know what that means, Madam Speaker? It's $1.4 billion per point. It means the stock market is up $14 trillion in 1 year under Joe Biden. Since Donald Trump lost, stock market is up $14 trillion. Now, if that weren't enough, let's talk about how many jobs have been added since Joe Biden won and Donald Trump lost. 6.2 million jobs have been added in the last year. 6.2 million jobs, and wages have increased by 4.7% at levels we haven't seen for decades. We had the sharpest drop in unemployment since Joe Biden won and Donald Trump lost over the course of the last year, down to 3.9%. Stock market's up, jobs are up, wages are up. And my friends are complaining about the economy. Well, they got to complain about something. So that's what they want to complain about. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Colorado reserves. The gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate it. I'm actually glad the economy came up because this is truly a disaster. And we can talk about the stock market, but I can tell you, the people in my district, they don't care about Wall Street. We're focused on Main Street. And when everything they buy every day, whether it's bacon at the grocery store, whether it's gasoline at the gas station, it costs more. It takes money out of their paychecks. But don't take my word. Let's turn to some statistics. The December job report was the worst of Joe Biden's presidency, with the U.S. economy actually adding just under 200,000 jobs when it was projected to add roughly 500,000 jobs, grossly falling short of what all the economists were projecting. The December jobs report, as I said, was the worst of the Biden presidency. The labor force participation rates decreased for the following demographics: African-American men, 20 and older, decline in job participation; African-American teenagers, Asian Americans, Hispanic and Latino Americans, all had failing numbers under the Biden economy. And again, let's just look at inflation. Gasoline up 58%. We haven't seen increases like this in gasoline since the last time that Joe Biden was in the White House. Car and truck rentals up over 37%. As I referenced, bacon up over 21%. Fish and seafood up 10%. Eggs, 8%. Coffee, 7.5%. What this means is the real wages of American workers, which have stagnated, are even worse than they were before this presidency, because everything the American worker buys costs more thanks to Joe Biden and thanks to the party across the aisle's economic policies. But I want to talk more. Schools were referenced yet again. So let's talk about schools. I've got a New York Times article, "No Way to Grow Up. American Children Are in Crisis" is the title. It was published January 4th. And this is the New York Times. Among 3rd through 8th graders, math and reading levels were lower than normal this fall, according to the NWEA, which is a research group. Many children and teenagers are experiencing mental health problems aggravated by the isolation and disruption of the pandemic. 3 medical groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, recently declared a national state of emergency in children's health. And what's really shocking about this is the party across the aisle claims to be the party of science. I think the party across the aisle has forever forfeited the right to call themselves the party of science because nothing that they have done has been based in science. Maybe political science, but not real science. Here's the real science. Data now suggests that the many changes to school routines are of questionable value in controlling the virus's spread. Some researchers are skeptical that school closures actually reduce COVID cases in most instances. So here we have the so-called party of science using unscientific rationale to shut down schools which we know are damaging kids, both from an education point of view and a mental health point of view, damaging kids while having zero science to back that up.